Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Rasmussen. I work for AED. It's an NGO based here in Washington. And by way of introducing our session, I'd first like to share with you some exciting late-breaking news from the domain of pandemic influenza communication. This is something I've been working on for the last few years. Anish Chopra described that today, and we finally know how the H1N1 pandemic started, where the original case came from. No, not really. This is not the way it started. But this slide does illustrate one of the key points that we are constantly dealing with in risk communication, and that is combating myths and rumors. Risk communication is about changing behavior, not only disseminating information, and we have learned that these three factors, perceived consequences, self-efficacy, and social norms, are key. Another more lighthearted way of looking at those: to make our communications effective, we have to make our proposed behaviors fun, easy, and popular, emphasizing benefits over barriers and so forth. We have a great panel for you, starting with David Ropike from Harvard University. He's going to be talking about the perception of risk, including the architecture and chemistry of the brain. The field of risk perception and risk communication is fascinating. It's drawing now on the fields of psychology, economics, and neuroscience. And David is going to be describing how these different domains affect the way that we're utilizing risk perception and communication. He's going to be describing the effects of stress on risk perception, on how different people respond to threats differently. Some choose to fight, some choose flight. He will give us some time to talk about definitions of risk communication. This is a term we use very loosely, I have discovered. So this will be an opportunity to share and make more precise what we're really talking about when we talk about risk communication. The next presentation will be from Jessica Ludi from University of California at Berkeley. She's going to be addressing this question: how well do residents in floodplains understand their real risk? Now, in this country, we have a national flood insurance program, which is based on a 1% annual chance flood. But in fact, people living in these floodplains really are experiencing risk at a much higher level. And so that needs to be taken into account. I think I'm interpreting this slide correctly. If I'm not, Jessica will clarify it for all of us tomorrow. She's also going to be addressing a key question that we have been hearing a lot about over the last month in terms of the oil spill in the Gulf. Whose responsibility is it? In this case, whose responsibility is it to protect residents from floods? The next presentation, Dr. Douglas Story from Johns Hopkins University. He's going to be presenting data from Egypt, evaluation data on the effect of risk communication campaigns related to avian influenza there. These are some of the issues he's going to be looking at. Variations in the way that people perceive a threat in terms of its severity, in terms of their feeling of personal susceptibility to it. This is one of his findings. As people feel more self-efficacious, that they can handle a threat successfully, they adjust their perceived susceptibility downward. They feel less susceptible to it. The next presentation will be from Todd Kozane from Second Muse. He's going to be talking about new media. Todd and Second Muse, this is the group that's been helping organize this whole event here. So he will talk about how this kind of a platform can be applied. I'm going to be sharing some of my own experience with this website that AED established as part of a global effort to share information on pandemic preparedness. We worked with WHO and the Red Cross and others. So this is the promise of our session. You may feel like a pussycat, but what you take away from our session will help you and able to make others perceive you like a lion. That may be overselling it a little bit, but please come anyway. 11 o'clock tomorrow here. Thank you.